Hello. This is going to be my tanking reference guide for anyone that wants to tank on an Arcanist, that wants to kind of get into harder content, or just looking for a simple guide. This is going to be my own opinion, my own strong opinion, but tanking is more of a opinion class anyways. Everyone runs it differently. Everyone has different traits, different CP. There's a lot of different variations you can run with. But this is going to be the way that I do it. So take it with a grain of salt, tweak it, don't tweak it, take it and run, whatever you want to do. Here's what I do. We'll start off with my stat sheet. This is my unbuffed stats. No food, no pot, no nothing, just raw character. I am running a high elf on this character because I use the armory to swap between DPS and tanking. So there's that. If you're looking for a true tanking class, the Imperial and then the Nord, in that order. Don't let anyone else talk you out of it. Because I'm a high elf, I am running 3 different attributes to make my setup work for me. I'm running 5 magic, 44 health, 15 stam, and that's the stats I get off of this. For the gear, this is going to be really situational, but you could look at it as your bread and butter is going to be Turning Tide, paired with Naz, paired with Stacks, or you swap Stacks out for Pearls. Your back bar can change depending on your gear set, your front and your gear set. I run on my back bar, I do either Powerful Assault, War Machine, or I will run a Master Ice Staff or a Maelstrom Arena Ice Staff. More so than not, I would run a Maelstrom Arena Ice Staff. I don't have it on this character, but you would get more damage off the Wall of Elements skill. And at the end of the day, extra damage is damage, right? So there's that. If you aren't running Crushing Shock, run Wall of Elements, and then this will all make sense and be good for you as well. But people do it all sorts of different ways, so again, take it with a grain of salt. When it comes to traits, I'm just going to go down the list here real quick. But for traits, if you're running a sword and board on the front bar, I would highly recommend your weapon be the charge trait. And to explain, if we look at the sword right now, or the dagger, I have infused with a Crusher enchant, and that gets me 1054 extra penetration, right? But if you run infused on the back bar, you're now going to get double that. So if you run charged on your weapon, that is going to apply whatever effect you want, either a poison or an enchant, guaranteed off the first hit. And then you can swap bars and poke it one time real quick and get the debuff. It's a lot higher. It's a whole 1,000 more. Food for thought there. Highly recommend it. For the shield, I run infused. That way my tri-stat enchant is maxed out. For all the body pieces, I run tri-stat enchant. For all the body pieces, I would highly recommend you run Divines for your body trait. Mine's not this way because I don't, what's it called? The transmute crystals. I'm broke as fuck when it comes to these. So, if you happen to have them or you happen to have the gear, run Divines. And to explain real quick, everyone needs a why, correct? The why is because at a higher level of tanking, you are not perma-blocking. You are either doing heavy attacks, you're doing something, you're not perma-blocking. Perma-blocking is for new beginners. You don't want invigorating, you don't want sturdy, you don't want well-fitted, you don't want Nirnhood, you don't want reinforced. All of these things are going to be provided to you by your heavy attacks, by your group, and by your own self-buffs. So the best trait, if you really want to boil it down, again, in my opinion, is going to be Divines. That way, if you are running a Magicka Recovery Mundus Stone, you're going to be maxed out on all your recovery. Just again, unbuffed, no food, no nothing, I am running 1594. And if I swap bars real quick, I'm at 2138. And I have 1 Divine's Piece. So if you can max that out, you can spam all of your magic abilities, your shields, your buffs, whatever it may be, endlessly, and you'll be fine. Especially if you have to bar swap and tank with a Night Staff, for instance. You're going to have a nice healthy pool because it'll always be at like 80%. It's hard for me to drain my magicka, put it that way. I think that's, necklace and rings. I personally run Harmony. I do this because I can just pop 1-2 synergies and I can be back at full resources and good to go. It's rare that I'm ever fully, completely drained on resources. I'm either heavy attacking or I'm popping synergies. I'm not perma-blocking. I only block the heavy attacks on bosses. So there's that. I would also run Magicka recovery on all 3 of these. Some people like to run infused with a reduce tri-stat enchant. I've seen people do it that way as well. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you're running Divine's Body Pieces with the Recovery Mundustone and you are heavy attacking and you are not perma-blocking, what's the point of having reduced cost items if you're already getting that stuff back naturally? So food for thought there. I think that's everything for gear. Just to recap, Sword and Board on the front bar, Ice Staff on the back bar, Naz on the monster set. I also run Archdruid as well sometimes. For the body, do sacks or pearls and you'll be all set and good to go. If you want to categorize things, if you are main tanking, I would run Turning Tide with pearls with Naz. And if you are off tanking, I would probably run the Master Sword and Board, wherever it is. Master Sword and Board in the front bar. You can then run War Machine on the back bar. You could run Powerful Assault on the back bar as well. Those would be my 2 recommendations alongside running Naz as well and running Sax. So there's that. As for skills, I am running your Crux Armor. That way you can get your wonderful buffs that you need. Major Resolve increases your armor. Great thing to have there. Also applies Minor Breach at times as well to people that attack you. Your Rune Guard of Freedom. This is going to be your minor protection, 5%. It also is going to be your burst heal as well. If you drop below 50, boom, you get a heal. Your Impervious Rune Ward, this is going to be your bread and butter shield. For Arcanist, I like to say you're constantly shielding up. You'll have the magic for it, of course, so I'd just constantly shield up. The first tap of it, you're going to get a major shield. The second tap, after the duration, you will have a smaller shield, but it's still worth a shield. My bread and butter when I'm tanking as well is going to be Colorless Pool. This gives minor vulnerability and minor brittle. That's rare. For my taunt, I'm using Pierce Armor, and then for my ultimate, I'm using Barrier. Mine's not leveled up. I just got Barrier, sadly. But you'd be running Barrier, the one that gives everyone the bigger shield and the heal as well. To elaborate real quick on why you want to run Barrier on your front bar, and where is it? If you go to the support tree and you get on the Magic Aid, increases your magic recovery by 10% for each slotted ability. This only gets better once you get to level 9. In a different video, I'll show you guys what that looks like. But I will also run Revealing Flare plus Barrier plus the passive, and I have a lot of Magicka recovery. I run that on my DK. On the Arcanist, it's a little different because I already have a lot of Magicka recovery. This also gives you, while slotted, reduces your damage taken by 10%. It's not a skill that you would ever cast or use. It's just something you'd have on your bard and that you would never use. On the back bar, this is going to change a lot. Just to recap real quick, on your front bar, this probably will never change. You could probably change Colorless Pool out for a different ability, but everything else you're going to keep. and you want to have 100% uptime on your armor, your freedom rune, and colorless pool plus your taunt. The shield, I wouldn't really worry about having uptime on this unless you need it, but there's that. On your back bar, this will change depending on the content that you are going to be doing. I will run Ellie Drain with Crushing Shock for my staff abilities. If I'm not running Crushing Shock, I will run the Elemental Blockade, and then I'll run the Maelstrom Ice Staff, just for the extra damage. You are running Runic Sunder, sorry. This is going to give the enemy minor main, reducing their damage done by 5% to you. I like to stack this with the Pierce Armor, so I'll Pierce Armor taunt, bar swap, and then I'll also use the Runic, just to apply all the buffs real quick. You can't over taunt in this current patch, so it works fine if you do a double taunt like that. For a heal, I'm using Vigor. I need to swap mine because I was doing PvP earlier, but you want to use the yellow version of this. I think it's the Echoing Vigor. That's going to give everyone around you a heal, and it does stack as well. So if let's say you and someone else is using it and you both use it at the same time, boom, the group now has 2 stacks of Vigor going on. So there's something for that. Since we're not a DK, we need to have the Fighters Guild ability, which is Silver Leash. This is going to be a stam ability, so just keep that in mind. And then your Ellie Drain, I was using this for VCR 3 earlier, to Ellie Drain the crystals and whatnot. I've also more recently been using it in other trials as well, for things that I can't apply the Pierce Armor taunt to because of the major and minor breach. So I'll use this in the back bar to apply it to things that I can't grab currently or touch currently. You could swap this out for the altar. You could also swap it out for the domain skill. You could swap it out for the teleport skill. You could swap it out for Runic Displacement, your pick, but I would probably stick with either Ellie Drain or I would stick with the altar. Same with your wall of elements. I would either use Crushing or Wall Elements. And then for your ultimate, I'm using the Aggressive Warhorn here. And then for CP, I'm using on this tree. I don't know if it really matters to you guys, but I have an increased duration on my food and drinks. I have a 10% chance not to take on some pots. I have more mount speed, and I got repair reduced. Inside the blue tree, we are running Ironclad, we are running Resolve, Duelist, and whatever the fuck that says. In the next tree, we are running Bracing, Fortified, and then if I have more, we're doing the more health. I'm only doing the health one, just to kind of put that in perspective. I'm only doing the health versions right now because of my race. If I was an Imperial or a Nord, I would not put anything in the health. My red tree is a little more important though because of my CP currently being sub 1000. I have a lot of points into my shield stuff. So reduce the cost of bashing is maxed out. Reduce the cost of block is maxed out. The increased amount of damage you can block is maxed out. If we go into here, I have movement speed maxed out. I have while in combat, blocking's good to go there. So that's just something, if you're a lower CP end, I would recommend using those. And once you get to the higher CP where you don't necessarily need these, then I would move over into putting things onto probably this side of the tree. And then to show you guys my stats for when I'm fully buffed and whatnot. If I can eat the right fucking food. We're looking at 3205, 1354 and 2100 for our recoveries. Magicka is going to be 18.7, 35.8, and 19.7 for the max health, Magicka, and stamina. And then the physical stuff, I'm just going to do it one more time so you guys can see, if I missed it myself. And then boom, 31, 31. So that's what I do in a nutshell. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, sucks to suck, right? But hey, there you go.